Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Mr. Rag. In this video, I will be focusing on how to solve inequalities. Now, if you are already familiar with solving equations, then hopefully solving inequalities is not too much of a challenge for you, because we're going to treat inequalities pretty much the same way as we do equations, except for one minor difference that I will talk about later in this video. But to refresh your memory, we solved equations by performing inverse operations on both sides of the equation to get our variable by itself. And we're going to do the exact same thing with inequalities. So for my example, I have 3 multiplied by a number minus 6 is less than 30. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get rid of my minus 6, and I'm going to do the opposite, or the inverse of subtraction, and I'm going to add 6 to both sides of my inequality. So I have 3x is less than 36. So 3 multiplied by a number is less than 36. Alright, since we have 3 multiplied by a number, I'm going to do the opposite of multiplication and divide both sides by 3. And I'm left with x is less than 36 divided by 3 is 12. So x is less than 12. So x can be any value that is less than 12. As long as the value of x is less than 12, then you will have a true inequality, a true statement. So to check my answer, let's choose the number 10. Okay, if I choose 10 for x, I have 3 times 10 minus 6 is less than 30. So 3 times 10 is 30. 30 minus 6 is less than 30. So 30 minus 6 is 24. And I see that 24 is less than 30, which is a true statement. So as long as my value for x is less than 12, then I will have a true statement. All right, so moving on. The other difference when solving inequalities is that whenever you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, you have to flip the symbol. So if you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you must flip the sign. Alright, so I will give you an example of why we have to do that. Let's take, for example, 3 is less than 8. Alright, so if we look on my number line here, I see I have 3 and then I have 8. Okay, so we can see that 3 is clearly less than 8. But let's see what happens if I multiply both of these numbers, 3 and 8, by negative 1. So I'm multiplying both sides of the inequality by a negative number. So I have negative 3 and I have negative 8. Okay, so now let's look over here at this number line, and we can see that negative 3 is here, but look, negative 8 is to the left of negative 3. So negative 3 is larger, it's greater than negative 8. So I had to flip my symbol from less than to a greater than symbol when I multiplied both sides of the inequality by a negative number. All right, so let's do an example where we would have to do that. All right, here we go. So let's do negative 5x minus 10 is less than or equal to, I don't know, let's go 45. All right, so what we're going to do first is we are going to add 10 to both sides of the inequality. So we get negative 5x is less than or equal to 55. So since we have negative 5 multiplied by a number, we're going to divide both sides by a negative 5. Okay, so since I divided both sides by a negative number, I'm going to have to flip this symbol here. So my negative 5's cancel out, and I have x is greater than or equal to negative 11. Okay, so we're essentially doing the exact same thing as we did when we solved equations, except for this rule right here that you cannot forget. Whenever you multiply or divide both sides of the inequality by a negative number, you must flip the inequality symbol. All right, and there you go. That was my quick tutorial on solving inequality, and I hope that helps. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.